The Flash number 16, written by Francis Manapul and Brian Buccellato, art by Francis Manapul. So last issue, Barry came out of his speed coma with the realization that he has to give himself up to Grodd in order to succeed. And then we open up this issue with a flashback to 5 years ago where Barry goes on a date with Iris. And he's just trying to figure out, like, is this an actual date? And she's like, do you want it to be? And he's like, I mean, kinda, yeah. And she's like, all right, then it's a date. And all of a sudden, she has a folder full of papers that start blowing away. Flash grabs them. And he's like, wait a minute. These are, like, arrest papers for your brother who's in jail. You just wanted to use me for my police knowledge. This isn't a real date at all. And she's like, no, that's not the total truth. And he's like, oh, whatever. I see what you're doing here. This could have been something great, Iris, but you gave it up. And he storms off. Cut back to now, and Patty and Barry are laying in bed. And she's just like, you sure you got to give up yourself to Grodd? And he's like, yeah, like I've gone through every other path. There's literally no other way that everyone else can be safe. Like this is the only path where he might leave Central City alone. And I might find a way out of it. And Patty's like, okay, but like he might also not leave the city alone. So is that really worth it? And she tries to convince Barry to stay, but he's also like, no, okay, we don't have to talk about the fact that I know who you are now. It's just, you get out there, you do what you need to do. And they say I love you to each other as he speeds off to give himself up to Grodd. And he literally just goes straight to Grodd. It's like, hey, you looking for me? So cut to the middle of Central City where the rogues are trying to protect the people who are inside all these buses that the gorillas have taken. They use their powers to get the gorillas off of the buses and then start transporting them into the mirror dimension. And one of the buses has Daniel West in there, and he's like, oh, geez, first the gorillas, now the rogues. I didn't want to get mixed up in all this. I got to find a way off this bus quick. But before they can really do anything, the police arrive. And just like, all right, anything that looks like a gorilla, shoot it. Also, the rogues are here, which I might do something about that too. And Captain Cold's like, whoa, hey, we're the good guys right now. We've been protecting this city. Don't take fire on us. Then we cut back to 5 years ago again, Iron Heights prison, where Iris meets up with her brother. And he's basically like, you screwed up the thing with Barry. He was the only person who could look over the evidence and maybe find a way to get me out of here. I'm serving 5 to 10 years, sis. What are you doing? And she's like, I hurt a good man, Daniel, and you made me do that. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I messed up your big date with Barry Allen. The guy sucks. And so that's that. Meanwhile, we meet up with Iris inside the Speed Force as she and the other people who were trapped in there hop inside of a tank to protect themselves from a rampaging mammoth. And they're basically just trying to tell the one Asian guy there, like, hey, you look like you'd be good with technology. And he's like, I'm not going to deal with that right now. Also, I don't know how to work a tank. And they all just try to figure out how to make it work. But then all of a sudden, the dude hands lights up with Speed Force energy. And he's like, I'm feeling kind of weird. And then the tank just kind of explodes. Like, you know, with like a gunfire, like it's away from the mammoth. Back to Flash, he's been chained up by Grodd. And Grodd just spends an extremely long time ranting and raving about, like, you just want to preserve the status quo with your lightning powers. I want to bring my people into the new world. That is why I should deserve the power, and I will take it from you. Do you have anything to say? And Flash just doesn't say anything. He's like, it really makes me feel bad when you don't say anything back. And so he throws a spear at Flash, and Flash is like, hey, I remember that thing that the other monkey said to me, of the mind will always be faster. And he's like, I just have to use my powers in a new way. And so he uses his powers to vibrate, and he manages to use the powers the same way that Salivar used his powers, which is he teleports himself and Grodd into the Speed Force. So they are no longer in Central City. And he's like, yep, I used my mind to bring you here. We're inside the Speed Force. I can just do that, I guess. And Grodd's like, that's stupid. I feel the Speed Force coursing through me. I am super powered now. And Flash is like, maybe so. But in here, I'm the king. And we're going to see if the only way out of here is for you to get through me. And so they do the whole run up to punch each other. But before they do, the tank lands in between them. And Iris rolls out. And Flash is like, what? Iris, what are you doing here? So, yeah, that's that. I don't think this is the end of the arc. I do think that, we're still dealing with Grodd. But it does feel like this is kind of a Deus Ex in a lot of ways, in that it's just like, oh yeah, I can do stuff with the Speed Force. And I guess that's kind of been the whole Flash run, is him discovering his powers. It is a very new Barry in terms of he hasn't been doing this for very long. He just discovered his ability to use his speed mind, and now he can go into the Speed Force and bring other people there as well. I'm not saying that it's unheard of. I mean, he went into the Speed Force before when he went too fast. Maybe this is just an extension of that. But it does feel very strange that he's just able to pull this out at the perfect moment to stop himself from being killed. I don't dislike it. I think the art is good. I think it's balancing a bunch of different plots very well. But it just kind of seems like a little bit of a Deus Ex on Barry's part of like, oh yeah, this new power I didn't know I could do. I suddenly realized it as a spear was hurtling towards my face. So I'm going to give this one mostly for the art because it does look fantastic. I'm going to give it a 7.5 sounds too high, 7 sounds harsh, but I am going to go with the 7. It is very good, though. I would definitely recommend. Maybe not this particular arc as a jumping on point, but the run as a whole has been very good.